Okay, so this is crazy. This will not be the intro. We're just gonna jump right in. I fed the cats and dog and chicken. I went on a walk, had 2 cups of coffee, and decided to edit my video. And then I opened the computer, and all this stuff appeared. A lot of it is from my new Patreon group chat, and you're all welcome to join those. And these are some of the things that we talked about, just some. So anyway, I thank you for being here. I love you all. God bless and welcome. Here we can see in 2024 alone, 108 dams, old dams, were demolished. More than 2,500 miles of river been affected by this. I mean, like some kind of pride. The investment is paying off. We demolished 108 dams. This is progress. Why not fire these babies up? All having the potential for generating power. This is a resource and a waste of money to demolish them. Here we can see a before and after picture. Even the dam. Everything. Everything old on this 2,500 mile river stretch being demolished. And they're boasting how great this is. And somebody shared this, an article written in August of 2025. The former Masonic Lodge, almost 17,000 square feet, is for sale. $500,000. $500,000 for this baby. 17,000 square feet. You could have 30 small apartments or even 17 or just a great house or anything. In the chat we considered a GoFundMe and maybe try to buy some of these buildings and have meetups in them. It also gives me the opportunity to share things, get some feedback before discussing them in a video. This was pretty awesome, and yet we discussed whether it was fake. I think no doubt this tower was used in the old world as some sort of functional electrical device, no doubt plated in gold, super tech looking even today. However, I thought the repeated pattern over and over looked kind of suspicious, and the group was kind of split, but no doubt somebody understanding what this was and then trying to recreate it and not even doing that good of a job. We have of course looked at the other video showing a temple harnessing tech, which I do think looks more authentic than this other one. I don't think we can say with certainty that anything we see in a video can be 100% legit, or anything anybody says for that matter. I think you have to experience it for yourself, boots on the ground, to really know for certain. It's the same with the shape of this realm. Until I can go up on my own, whether on a magic carpet or small zeppelin, I can't be certain, but I can draw conclusions until then. So let's take a pause. This was an old house shared by Rita. We can see it's a mud flutter and doesn't look that impressive. I think it's had a facelift for the worse, perhaps covering the original brick, but we can see this tech up here, these tech balls all over. Somebody understood that these were functional and didn't remove them. We can see the balls up here. We see another one attached to the chimney, to the brick chimney. And here someone was sharing the Soldier Field in Chicago, picture that I'd never seen before, showing this beautiful feature at the end opposing the main building. And this feature doesn't show up much. It must have been demolished at some point. And here we can see what they tell us is construction. Pretty sweet little excavator here. I wouldn't mind having this today. But as usual, why are you building the bottom when the top is already complete? This makes no sense. And this may be a demolishing picture, demolishing that very feature I was showing a minute ago. And this is the picture he started out with. So this is supposedly a construction photo. But again, we can see the top complete. We see these pillars. Beautiful features still there today, just now encased in a new stadium. And is this a construction photo? Or is this a demolishing photo. Demolishing that portion we were just looking at here, the most beautiful part of the stadium. And then here we see just a lot of scraping, adding some wood to the side. Again, this is not point in construction where you should be doing. The top is already complete. And really it just looks like either they're digging out the stadium, I mean it's buried, and also clearing the dirt around this building. You can see how everything has been cleaned up here, and now they're moving to this stadium. We see the artificial coastline already shaped, indicating this is an old site. This land has been formed. Perhaps there was a star fort around this building. Who knows? In the earliest photos we see, it's already been cleaned up. But yet this makes no sense. This doesn't seem like a construction photo. Again, building from the top down. The complete columns. Here somebody shared an antique fireplace, which I don't believe are meant for burning wood, but rather some etheric technology, perhaps utilizing radium, or just something resembling a large Leyden jar. It looks like somebody tried to burn in here at one point and has tarnished this top portion. You can see it's been heated. And again, with the wood around it, not seeming like it was ever meant to be a fireplace. We can also see the two fasces on each side. Of course, the fasces is a symbol that's used in all government function, a symbol that most people have no idea what the meaning is. And really, history doesn't give us a good explanation for what the meaning of the fasces is, nor does it give us the explanation for these supposed fireplaces. But in my opinion, a technology that has not been lost to all of us, but most. So let's take a pause. So I started thinking about this chat that I did with Streets of Tartaria long ago, and it was kind of a group exploration, just me and him. We recorded it, but it discussed this town in Texas, Paducah, Texas. And there is a small population there, but mostly abandoned buildings. I mean, the population is like 500 or 600 people, and it's a town that was clearly once bustling. Here we can see their courthouse with the statues, and mostly boarded up buildings, all made of brick, and even the streets, like we can see here, pure brick. And most buildings have been demolished by the time we're seeing this. There will have been some on the other side of the street, probably one at the end of this road, and really showcasing a time of greatness now in a state of dilapidation. All of these buildings have a tremendous amount of detail, much more than they need to be. And we can see that a lot of these sidewalks have been an afterthought, raising the street level. I mean, you can see that the building goes down another level. Here, this was once a bank, and we can see their repurposement. They only decided to put their bank sign 1910 on two of these sections, and then we have a couple more that are blank here. And I don't think they were ever meant to have signage. And then it was repurposed into this old dollar store. Looks like the dollar store has been gone for a while, and really cheapened on the bottom, like all main streets. Look how you can see the brick poking through here, and this cheap facade crumbling away just enough to reveal the brick. And look how absolutely ugly the lower facading is on both of these buildings. They've painted the brick white, so this is an upgrade to someone. And now right next door we can see something more original, absolutely beautiful. Some sort of bird bath up here on the top, and a lot of the features have been removed or knocked off, as we can see up here. This abandoned, beautiful brick town. Next, this was brought to my attention. The astronomical clock in Prague has now been altered to fit their narrative. This is one of my favorite clocks and one of the oldest clocks in the world. I've discussed it many times, and I think it has been altered many times throughout history. Certainly these ridiculous figurines are modern, but otherwise the clock holding up pretty true to what we have discovered in this research. The eclipses, the orbs, the luminaries circling around us. And here this clock in plain sight was showing us how the luminaries actually work, especially in relativity to our own realm below. And we can see our realm here, a flat earth projection similar to the United Nations map, again in plain sight. And it gave me peace that this clock was preserved for all to see. And all that changed very, very recently. And let me show you. So here is the old clock, the old projection, and let me show you the new one. Proof that deception is an ongoing thing. I mean, why not leave the damn clock alone? It's been here, according to history, for around 1,000 years. For a long time. And here we go. Now injecting this cheap globe in the center. I mean, really? Was that necessary? It doesn't even look good. They didn't even want to point it to the top so that it would work. Just this goofy BS ball in the center. And this deception, this altering, should be a red flag. If you were on the fence, this should be a great proof that we have been and still are being deceived about our very realm. Forget about everything else. Forget about politics. This is a damn shame and totally ridiculous. A subtle alteration to reality. So let's take a pause. Here I would like to show some old sites. I've shown this place in past videos. It's about 3 hours away from my house, and we're told Native Americans built like this and lived like this. You need a ladder to even access it. And did they build like this, or was this area absolutely rock? I think that's where we get the expression. Everything displaced, scattered, and blamed on the Native Americans, like they were so stupid. If that were the case, it'd be extra genius, really. And then we see Petra looking like this. Question is, are these structures in the process of being built, or have they been destroyed? Is this carved, or is this cooked? Now it looks cooked, looks like it was once complete, and has melted like a candle. A lot of people oppose this idea, but who could oppose this idea right now? Please let me know. We're told this was carved, perhaps incomplete. And is it? Here we can see these columns are made out of solid brick, and the plaster has come off. We can see his pants over the brick down here. Maybe a she. And here as well, the old world, almost looking carved. If it were to have aged anymore, people will think these were carved into mountains. And yet we see the core of brick facading. Look at the columns. Once possibly Greco-Roman looking columns facaded over brick. Again, the transitioning of brick. We see a little pocket right here. Over on the left side, the brick almost looking natural, looking like something I would see in my backyard. And here's something I saw in my backyard yesterday. I mean, all of Utah is made of block. I seem to have missed that in my schooling. The idea that the realm was formed as block with what looks like mortar in between. Nature was not so disorganized, but rather block-centric. Sorry. And oftentimes Chief doesn't like these areas, and he loved this area. Kept pushing me to go further and further, and it did get better and better. And most people don't care about these areas I explore. There's pine trees and rivers back here in the mountains, and people hunt and fish and hike up here. Nobody's interested in this because they don't know. But when you know, it's actually very interesting. And suddenly we can look everywhere, all throughout the realm, and make sense of what we're seeing. And this is an old reset, like I've said before. This is the oldest reset. This one cooked everything. Beautiful buildings turned to rock. And usually we explore the following reset, where the beautiful architecture remains. Stuff we're told was built in the 1800s. But I think it's very important to examine this way back reset. Here we can barely see the building anymore, but it's here. Here a little better. And again, these windows, the locals pop them out. They're very thin. Just a thin veil of rock curtaining. Here we can see some pop-out points. And again, we're told carved, that's all. And now let me move on to the next part. So this continues. You must understand carving either from the old reset, like we were just looking at, or from this 18th century angle. 18th century sculpture has a delicate net carved out of a single block of marble. A single block carved here. 18th century. The fisherman's net. Now we could discuss the building, this museum that it's housed in, but we must look at all of the clues left in this work of art. This piece of art, first of all, is called The Release from Deception, 1754, by Francesco Carolio, or whatever. And I say whatever because no man carved this and didn't mess up from a single piece of marble. No, that is a deception. And the art piece is called The Release from Deception. And look at all the deception in this one art piece. We really must look closely. The detail, each piece of rope, intricate. The Release from Deception depicts a scene that is both biblical and allegorical. It features two subjects, an angel and a fisherman. The angel stands on a globe as he untangles the man from a fishing net. Deception. And I think the maker of this piece was freeing us from deception. He knew that one day we would be told this was carved, and he also knew that this was uncarvable by hand. And how could you make a piece like this? Well, very simply, you can 3D print them. Here again we see this supposed artist, Francesco, a marble statue carved 264 years ago. Carved again. Really? One block of marble. The beetle. This is really not only an advanced sculpture, but advanced people. Look at this outfit. And I think it's interesting. Currently, AI is the big thing, the new thing. And we on this channel have been discussing this for years, that it appears that the old world was 20 times, 100 times more advanced than we are today. You could get a 3D printer to make this out of plastic today, but not out of marble. Not yet. And when it comes to building all these old world buildings, as we discuss on this channel over and over, people in horse and wagon would not be capable of building structures out in the water using millions of bricks. Especially, we're told most of these builders were often soldiers building on their spare time, such as Fort Jefferson, 5 million bricks out in the water. And much nicer than this image, these robots building this square building. And really, this is a 3D printer, even if you were using external robots like this. And it's a two-parter. It's many parts. You don't have the skilled workforce 200 plus years ago, or thousands, as we're told in some cases. You don't have the manufacturing and delivery methods in place for obtaining building materials like this. In the past, something that's completely left out of our narrative. Sometimes we're told they were shipping bricks from England to North America because there is no good explanation. They didn't write one. How did all the bricks get here? And then we can ask, how did they build these structures, towers, hundreds of feet in the air, without cranes, without power? And the elephant in the room is, of course, whoever built everything had everything. Everything we do today times 100. And it baffles me week after week why this threatens those who would write such phony histories for us. I think it will be a choice moving forward, as it already is. Will you embark on the new program? And it is a program. Let's take a pause. So just a few more things, and this was really interesting. I don't know how this came to me. Perhaps one of you, thank you. The Kurhaus of Baden-Baden in Germany, on the outskirts of the Black Forest. And it was like this World's Fair environment, I felt. All kinds of buildings going back to 1824, and this man, Frederick Wienbrenner, He was an architect and a city planner, admired for his mastery of classical style, of course. Spare a chin, Freddy? I have nothing to say to you. I am an architect. Oh, sorry. And later they turned this building into a casino, which I thought was really interesting. Always some amusement. A fair, a casino, a hot springs resort. We can see the inside of it here, one of the casinos. And I thought it was interesting how history, or the writers of it, just repeat things. And here this is the Kurhaus of Baden-Baden. And I thought, God, there's another Baden-Baden. Or just Baden. The 4-star hotel of West Baden Springs in French Lick, Indiana. And I've shown it before. Unbelievable. Old worlder. Let's look at her in black and white, just so you can see what they found here in Baden Springs. Again, this Baden name. Maybe some of you can let me know what that means. Here, this city of Baden-Baden in Germany is just incredible. Here we can have a little peek. Awesome. And I think the word is used to write history, and it's also a little nod to themselves, like it means something for them, and it means less for us. And I love this resort right from the get-go. This photo is not so old, but you can see this tech up here. I love this thing. Clearly was functional, and one can go here today in French Lick, Indiana. So for this week, I thank you for joining me. I love you all. God bless, and I'll see you in the next one.